Is in. Jen Psaki's out, and Karine Jean-Pierre is in. Here's part of her intro speech.
I am obviously acutely aware that my presence at this podium represents a few firsts. I am a Black, gay, immigrant woman, the first of all three of those to hold this position. I would not be here today if it were not for generations of barrier-breaking people before me. I stand on their shoulders. If it were not for generations of barrier-breaking people before me, I would not be here. But I benefit from their sacrifices. I have learned from their excellence, and I am forever grateful to them. Representation does matter. You hear us say this often in this administration, and no one understands this better than President Biden.
And before we look at some of the highlights of day one, let's watch her for a few minutes telling everybody on TV how racist America is in a compilation that took place before she got this job.
Racism, sexism, misogyny, all of that, homophobia, xenophobia, we connected to Donald Trump, but it existed before Donald Trump. Fox News was racist before coronavirus. They are racist during the coronavirus. Fox News will be racist after the coronavirus. Racism was here before Donald Trump, and sadly, it will be here after Donald Trump. If it walks like a racist, talks like a racist, acts like a racist, it is a racist. And we have a racist president in the White House who really pushes his racism like a peacock. Donald Trump is the first president to have purposefully has made racism the center of his campaign, of his administration, clearly. I think Donald Trump wants to get rid of legal immigration, and it's because of people who come from brown and black countries. He might do away with DACA, which is another moral line that he would be crossing, which is something that would be advancing a white supremacy agenda. Donald Trump was a white supremacist in 2011 when he decided to be the grand wizard of the birther movement. Birtherism, which is inherently racist. They want to put up these awful voter suppression laws, which is racism, to make it difficult for people of color to vote. And voter suppression is racism. That's exactly what it is. Xenophobia and racism has always played a role in outbreaks. If you look at SARS, if you look at Ebola, if you look at yellow fever or Spanish flu. We've been talking about the coronavirus and how it is an epidemic in this country, which is true. But another epidemic in this country is racism. Remember George Floyd, Ahmaud Arbery, and so many lives, Black lives that were lost last year because of violence, because of racism, because of, white supremacy. Can we kind of dispel this whole idea that the Tea Party was about the deficit when clearly that is not true? What it was about was a reactionary to the racism in America that we were seeing at the time. And what are we going to do to actually start the process? Because it's going to take some time to uproot systemic racism. We have to continue to call out this racism. We cannot stop not doing.
I mean, my God, excuse me. Sorry, I got teared up just listening to her. But if you're wondering, are you a racist? Look at this. Do you see white? Do you see a white thing of paper towel? If you see white, you are a racist. Does this look like Tucker Carlson to you? Is this like, oh, I'm Tucker Carlson, I'm Fox News, I'm a white... If you see Tucker Carlson, when you look at this, you might be a racist. And I'm just helping her. She's a strong Black, gay woman, immigrant. I mean, she's got almost every victim card under the sun. God bless her. All right, so now that she's in office, I guess it's a harder job for her. I actually applaud her for taking on this position, because the only thing harder than what she was doing there, calling everything racist all the time, is defending Joe Biden. I mean, this is not an easy job. I'm not even joking or being sarcastic. This is perhaps the hardest job in the world that Jen Psaki did a good job of, really. I mean, I don't think she did a good job. She seems a little evil, but to actually make sense of what Joe Biden is saying is something that not even the smartest person on the planet could do. So let's see how she does. Right off the bat, Peter Doocy asked her, what did Joe Biden mean when he said that inflation would go down if we tax corporations more? Like, what does that even mean? And, I think she seems utterly confused, which, to be fair to her, Joe Biden, white man, he might be a racist towards her or something, but Imagine being her. It's her first day on the job, and she's got to make sense of a tweet that doesn't make sense. Like, I feel bad for her, but here's her explanation for the unexplainable.
Karine, congratulations. Nice to see you up there.
Thank you.
The president's Twitter account posted the other day, you want to bring down inflation, let's make sure the wealthiest corporations pay their fair share. Mm-hmm. How does raising taxes on corporations reduce inflation?
So, are you talking about a specific tweet?
He tweeted, you want to bring down inflation, let's make sure the wealthiest corporations pay their fair share.
Look, we have talked about this past year about making sure that the wealthiest among us are paying their fair share. And that is important to do, and that is something that the president has been working on every day when we talk about inflation and lowering costs. And so it's very important that as we're seeing costs rise, as we're talking about how to build a America that's safe, that's equal for everyone, and doesn't leave anyone behind. That is an important part of that as well.
But how does raising taxes on corporations lower the cost of gas, the cost of a used car, the cost of food for everyday Americans?
So look, I think we encourage those who have done very well, right, especially those who care about climate change, to support a fair tax code that doesn't charge manufacturers, workers, cops, builders a higher percentage of their earnings, that the most fortunate people in our nation, and not let that stand in the way of reducing energy costs and fighting this existential problem, if you think about that as an example. And to support basic collective bargaining rights as well, right? That's also important. But look, it is, without having a fair tax code, which is what I'm talking about, then manufacturing workers, cops, it's not fair for them to have to pay higher taxes than the folks who are not paying taxes at all.
But what does that have to do with inflation? The president said, you want to bring down inflation, let's make sure the wealthiest corporations pay their fair share. Jeff Bezos came out and tweeted about that. He said the newly created Disinformation Board should review this tweet. Would you be okay with that?
Look, it's not a huge mystery why one of the wealthiest individuals on earth, right, opposes an economic agenda that is for the middle class, that cuts some of the biggest costs families face, fights inflation for the long haul, right? And that's what we're talking about. That's why we're talking about lowering inflation here, and adds to the historic deficit reduction the president is achieving by asking the richest taxpayers and corporations to pay their fair share. That is what we're talking about.
It's gonna be a long year for this poor woman. I feel horrible for her. The fact that they just threw her to the wolves like that. They're like, here, you have to defend Biden's tweet on her first day. It's a hilarious tweet because I understand there's debates to be had, obviously, but it really did make no sense. Even Jeff Bezos said something, and I'm not taking his side on that much stuff, but there's all these inflation problems for all these reasons, and he's tweeting like an angry fifth grade Bernie supporter where he's just like, tax the rich. And it's like, but what is taxing corporations more have to do with the inflation of what's going on? Like, is that would be like, oh, we have a baby formula shortage, so we need to tax Amazon more. It's like, we could talk about taxing Amazon more. I'm not telling you not to, but what does that have to do with like the shortage? So it's like, she doesn't even really know. And I feel like Psaki, to her credit, she's definitely a wicked woman in my opinion. Her energy, like every time she gets on the stage, it just felt like the sun just got sucked out of real witchcraft energy. But jokes aside, Jen Psaki was pretty good at making excuses for Joe Biden. I don't like Jen Psaki. I don't think she's like a moral, amazing person, but her job, to her credit, was to make excuses for Joe Biden. I would consider a top 5 most difficult job in the world. So the fact that this girl is like, I'm a woman, I'm gay, I'm everything you want and more. And I'm like, you could be all those things, lady, but you got to make excuses for Joe Biden now. Welcome to the big leagues, Calling everything racist on MSNBC is easy. Anybody could do that. But this is a little more difficult. I'm going to play another clip of her. Peter Doocy asked about Wakasha, or however you pronounce it. That was the other standout highlight. And then I want to play a clip of Clarence Thomas, somebody that I believe deserves the position he's in. She deserves this position too. I'm not going to lie. She's earned it. Here you are. God help you, defending Joe Biden. But here's that clip that I wanted to play real quick.
And then just one on the trip tomorrow. How come the president is visiting Buffalo after a senseless tragedy there, but he couldn't visit Waukesha after 6 were killed and 61 injured in an attack on a Christmas parade there?
I mean, he's visited many communities. Buffalo, he's able to go tomorrow to Buffalo before the trip. That is something that was important for him to do. But he has visited many other communities. Buffalo's not the first community, sadly, that he has to go up to because of a violent attack. So, that's not the first one. So he's been to many.
I don't even think she knows what he's talking about. I mean, I feel like she's not going to last very long. No offense to her. I hope she does, because I think she seems like I like listening to her more than I like listening to Jen Psaki. I'm not going to lie. I hope she lasts a long time. But it's the big leagues. Making excuses for Joe Biden is something that I would not wish on my own worst enemy. So I wish her luck. You know what I'm saying? Stay strong there. And the reason I'm playing this Clarence Thomas clip, it's not because I'm trying to pander and be like, oh, here's somebody black that I actually like. That's not what I'm trying to do. I just saw this clip today. It surfaced on Twitter, and I thought it was pretty epic, and I had nowhere to really put it in a video. So I just wanted to play this funny clip of Clarence Thomas. It's kind of coincidental, but I just thought it was fun. Here, I'll play it.
One of the things I say in response to the media is when they talk about, or especially early on, about the way I did my job, I said, I will absolutely leave the court when I do my job as poorly as you do yours. And that was meant as a compliment, really.
I think we've neglected this side of the room.
Oh, gosh.
All the way over here, yes.
It really is good to be me. It really is.
Very quick.
He's having so much fun. He thought that was it was funny, but like the fact that he laughed at his own joke afterwards was so good. He's like, it's good to be me. So I'm glad he's having fun, and he definitely is an American icon, a legend, and I'm glad he's there. I'm glad he's got a lot of energy in him, because he's definitely one of the best judges. On this note, I'm going to keep this short, under 15 minutes, and hopefully you guys share this if you think it's interesting. Feel free to share it on Facebook, YouTube. It'll be on BitChute, Rumble, everything. I do want to say this when it comes to race and politics, because I believe this is true, and I think if you listen to what I'm about to say, you'll agree as well, if you're honest. Both sides of politics at this point in time, they don't really care what race you are. They just want you to agree. So the Democratic Party, if you agree with them, whether you're Beto O'Rourke or this lady, they'll push you, right? Jen Psaki, she's white, doesn't matter. She agrees with the Democratic Party, so they'll push her. Of course, sometimes they'll give minorities and women and gay people things, of course. But you get what I'm saying? What's important in the Democratic Party is that you agree with their political agenda. It's the same thing on the right wing in the Conservative Party. They don't care if you're Kathy Barnett, and they don't care if you're Donald Trump. They don't care if you're a man, a woman. They just want you to push the agenda that they believe is America first. So what I find about the left and the right, the Democrat and the Republican, is the Republicans are more honest about that. They say all the time, we don't care what race you are. Like, we love Clarence Thomas. It's not because he's black. It's not because he's a man. He's just what we consider a great judge and a great American. So we support him, and we would support Clarence Thomas if he was a white woman. That's just how people think on the right, and they're more honest about it. I can't speak for everybody, but 99% of people. On the left, they feel the same way that we do. They just want people to agree. They just don't ever admit to it. So it's like when there's a black woman like Candace Owens, they have every name to call her. When there's Clarence Thomas, they ignore him or call him a bigot, or and it's just so annoying and frustrating. That's why people like Karine annoy us. It's not that they disagree with us. We don't care. We could talk about building inner cities. We could talk about even racism, and I would even talk about reparations. I mean, none of this offends me, and I don't care. It's just the dishonesty, the level of dishonesty when you're talking to a left wing and a Democrat, where they act like they care so much about your race and so much about your gender and so much about your gayness. But if you're Caitlyn Jenner, they act like you're literally like the return of Hitler. I mean, they hate Caitlyn Jenner because she's more conservative. You get what I'm saying? It's like, so the point I'm getting to is like, just be honest about it. Be like, hey, we're the Democratic Party, And we just agree with people who agree with us. And if you're black and you agree with us, we like you. And if you're white, we like you. But if you're not, we'll be your worst enemy. If you're Clarence Thomas or Candace, we'll be your worst enemy. Just be honest about it and be like, you like people who like your agenda, just like the right-wingers like people who like their agenda. The right just tells the truth about it. They always say, we don't care about what color you are. This is our values. But the left is the same way with their values. They just don't tell the truth about it. So it's like they're always just so self-righteous when they get into a position like, I got here because of my color. And it's like, or like because of my skill set. And it's like, yeah, for sure. Everybody earns things. And I'm not trying to knock that. But just stop lying and acting like you're the gatekeeper of every minority group, especially when you look at the Hispanic polls recently. Like a majority of Hispanics are totally disillusioned with what you're doing. They don't like you. That's tens of millions of people. There's tens of millions of minorities who disagree with you. There's tens of millions who agree with you. But we can never have an honest discussion about it because they're always hiding behind race, hiding behind sexuality and ethnicity. And it's kind of cringe. And by the way, it doesn't make people feel better about racial tensions at all. It actually makes it worse. So their strategy is always just like so dishonest in my opinion. But let me know what you think. God bless hats as always. That's the sponsor of the show. I self-sponsor Made in the USA hats. We have shirts, we have long sleeves, etc. But share this video if you like it. I'm gonna keep it short, I'm gonna keep it brief. And once again, if you see white when you look at my hat or my face or this paper towel, you might be one of those Tucker Carlson racist. So just be vigilant out there, stay prepared, and make sure you love our new press secretary, who's just a total darling. And anybody who doesn't think she's doing a great job, you know what you are. I don't have to tell you. Appreciate y'all. Have a good one.